There's something off about murdered teen Madeline Soto's mother's timeline. Let's talk about that. Good morning everyone, my name is Michelle, I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another video. It's Monday morning, the 4th of March. 4th of March, already. I'm going to talk about the Madeline Soto case today, and I think the majority of comments I got on my last video about Madeline was about Madeline's mother, Jenn. And just there's something off. I can't put my finger on it. There's just something off about the way she speaks. There's something off about her mannerisms. There's something off about her timeline. So what we're going to do in this video is go through Jenn's interview, which was exclusive on WFTV a few days ago. It was done the day after she went missing. Anyhow, we're going to go through it and we're going to pick it apart based on what other information we've got. The most important information I think we've got so far is what the cops believed happened. They went into some detail. I mean, it wasn't much, but what they gave us was very useful. What they believed happened on February 26th, and how it was nothing like what Stephan Sterns had said, and also what Jenn Soto has said. So let's play that first as a reminder.
Last night, detectives from the CMI Police Department met with Madeline's mother, and they had to tell her the very devastating news that although we have not found Madeline, we are now confident that she is dead. So our efforts will be focused on recovering Madeline. Dozens and dozens of detectives, crime analysts, and specialized team members have been working non-stop and following up on every single lead and every shred of evidence. Our detectives have determined that Madeline was never dropped off on the morning of February 26th near her school. Instead, we believe she was already dead at the time and that Stefan Sterns moved her body in the early morning hours on that day. We have video evidence that shows Stefan Sterns discarding items in a dumpster in that apartment complex in Kissimmee at 7:35 on Monday, February 26. Detectives later recovered Madeline's backpack and her school-issued laptop from that dumpster. At 8:19, we have evidence that shows Stefan Sterns returning to the complex, and Madeline was visible in that vehicle. We believe she was already dead at that time. As a result of that, although the initial missing persons investigation started in Orange County, the Kissimmee Police Department will now be taking over.
So there's a lot there. An important time point, for me at least, is 8:19. At 8:19, Stefan Sterns returned to the apartment complex with Madeline in the car. They believe she was already dead. I believe Stephan Sterns, in his interview, in the same broadcast as Jenn Soto's interview, said that Madeline slept most of the way to school. I believe that was so that if anybody had seen him, he could say Madeline was asleep. So 8:19, and then around 1:30ish, a few miles away, he was seen with a flat tyre. What they believe was a flat tyre. So what was he doing between 8:19 and about 1:30? Was it at that point, around 1:30, that he'd been to hide Madeline's body? Because it's in the right area of where her body was found. Old Hickory Tree Road, I think it's called. Did he get a flat tyre because he went off-road and got something stuck in his tyre? Maybe. Kind of thinking along those lines. But it's important because that made him very visible. Again, what happened though between 8:19 and 1:30? Where was Madeline? It's so confusing. I think this is one of the reasons why I think what Jenn Soto said sounds very off. And let's be very clear, police at this moment in time do not believe that Jenn Soto is a suspect at this time. But I'm sure that they're looking at her very, very carefully because there's just something off. Now, I'm not saying that Jenn Soto is involved. Please do not get me wrong. There's more probable, in my opinion, reasons why Jenn Soto is behaving like she is. It could be that she's covering up for him, so she wasn't involved in the murder. He's not been charged with murder yet. So we've got to assume that she was murdered, though, because she's dead. So how did she die? We've not got the cause of death yet. I think because we've got so many missing pieces at this moment, it's like trying to do a jigsaw when half of the pieces are still in the box. You're never going to be able to put a proper pattern together until you bring those pieces out. So we have to piece together what we can to get half of that jigsaw done, or as much as we can done. Right, that's the way I kind of think about things. And when somebody makes a statement or gives an interview, you should start off with the premise that it's true. And then they've got to talk you down from that truth. This is the way I work. This is the way the behaviour panel works, if anybody watches the behaviour panel. Start off assuming that everything that is said is true. And then look at the evidence, look at what talks you down from that basic premise of truth. Don't assume that they're guilty straight off, because you'll have confirmation bias city going on in your brain if you automatically assume they're guilty. You've got to start with that premise that they're telling the truth, and then let them and the evidence talk you down from that. Does that make sense? So I'm not saying that Jenn Soto is guilty, that she was involved in the murder. I'm not saying that at all. I don't believe I've got the evidence to say that. However, some of the discrepancies that Jenn Soto has brought into this timeline are of great concern. So at that point, let's talk about this interview.
So the first question is if I can have your first and your last name and spell them both out for me.
Okay. Jennifer Soto, JENNIFER SOTO. Mother.
So in just giving her name there, she's visibly shaking. Is she putting on an act, or is she genuinely very, very nervous? Just giving her name. Maybe she's very nervous because she's not used to speaking on camera. She'd already given an interview with Fox News that had come out days earlier than this. We have to look at this and see what talks us down from that basic premise of truth.
I feel like I can't breathe. All I keep thinking about is, where is she? Is she safe? Is she okay? But we're all a wreck. My entire family is a mess. We're just so worried.
And that's probably true. Of course they are. Missing child. The only person who knows the truth, potentially at this point, is Stefan Sterns. When he's interviewed in this same broadcast, he's like crying with no tears, dabbing his eyes with no tears, the whole caboodle. He put on an act worthy of an Oscar. But she's more reserved. We don't have a baseline for Jenn. We could say that giving her name is her baseline of this interview. However, it's not a baseline of her in her normal life. She's already in a nerve-wracking position. Being interviewed for TV, if you're not used to it, is a nerve-wracking position to be in.
When did you first realize, or when did you file a missing report?
We filed a missing report. We called the police at like 4:45 yesterday, 4:45 p.m.
She says she called the cops at 4:45. The police say 8 p.m. How can we resolve this discrepancy? People say that she did ring at 4:45, but it took the cops that long to get there, which could be true, but as a missing child, you know, they think, oh, she's 13, she's just gone to a friend's house, will not bother going for a few hours. It's pretty bad practice. However, they might be busy, understaffed, etc., etc. So we have that discrepancy. I don't think it's an earth-shattering problem, though.
But she actually went missing early that morning, around between 8:45 and 9 o'clock in the morning. She went missing.
And of course, we know that's not true. But does she know that that's not true at this stage? Do you know who she reminds me of? Don Wells from the Summer Wells case, Summer Wells' dad. Because he wasn't there, right? I know some people think he was, but according to the official timeline, Don Wells was at work 45 minutes away, working in Jonesboro. He only got home shortly before 7 p.m. But yet it's him that gave us the timeline initially. But it was all according to Candice, Summer Wells' mother. But Don spoke as if he knew what happened. Now, in some interviews, he would say, according to my wife, I wasn't there. But if you don't listen or appreciate the context, then you assume that Don Wells is talking as if he was there. But this script that they all use is from one person, from Candice. So it's the same here. Jenn Soto wasn't there. So Jenn Soto at this point is talking as if she knows what happened, but it's only because she's been told by Stefan Sterns what happened. That's my belief at this moment.
We had dropped her off close to the school. She wanted to walk the rest of the way. Sorry. That should be it.
Okay, what is that? When I first heard this, I assumed it was a child's toy. That there was a child in the background and they'd set off some kind of toy. That's what I thought. I thought, oh my word, there's another child in the equation. But it seems that there isn't. Madeline was the only child in the household. So people have speculated, is it a parrot? Somebody, I can't remember who said it, and I think this is the correct answer. This is an automated food dispenser for an animal, for a bird or whatever. And she knew when it was going to stop. So the voice is saying something like, come get your food or something. I don't know what it is. It doesn't matter what it is in the background. But look at Jen's face. She's not shaking anymore. She's calmed right down very quickly. We're only a minute and a half into the interview. She's calmed down very quickly. Now she's looking much more relaxed. She's smiling at this interruption. But yet she's getting to the most important part of the timeline.
Sorry about that. We dropped her off at school, close to school. She wanted to walk the rest of the way. I'm not sure what I'm allowed to share.
You can share whatever you feel comfortable sharing. I know you had conversations with detectives. Not sure what that conversation is, but whichever you feel comfortable sharing, that we'll put the awareness out there.
So she's shaking again, or she looks visibly nervous. But she's getting to the most important part of the timeline. And of course, she's saying we, which is the biggest contention of this interview. She's saying we as if both of them were there. Now, someone online speaking on behalf of Jenn, I don't know whether this person knows Jenn or not, has said that she overslept. But that brings in another problem. Because in the PCA, it says the mother advised her daughter's stepfather, Stephan Sterns, picked her up from home and dropped her off at Hunters Creek Middle School. Picked her up from home. So was Madeline at home? Yeah. Was Jenn at home? Presumably. But she'd overslept. She'd overslept, therefore she'd asked Stefan to pick Madeline up. But Stefan wasn't there. So where was Stefan that night? Remember, this is what Jenn Soto has told the police. Did she tell the police that Stefan wasn't there to cover up for him? He wasn't there that night, therefore nothing bad could potentially have happened because he wasn't there that night. He just picked her up and took her to school. But then we have 8:19, as the cops say. He's on camera with Madeline dead in the car. So when he picked her up from home, obviously that's a lie, but is that a lie that Stefan has told Jenn to say? It must be, because where was she? Because if she overslept, did she sleep through the entire murder? Or did Stefan take Madeline somewhere else to murder her? And if she was murdered in the home, if they've got him on camera at 7:30 discarding her backpack and her laptop in a dumpster, do they have him on camera walking out with Madeline, either alive or not? There's this big gap. Look, if she was killed at home and then she was dead in the car at 8:19, he must have had to transport her dead body from the apartment to the car. But then why did it take him 5 hours to go a few miles to discard her body? I don't understand. It doesn't work. This is the half a jigsaw, and now we're up to the point where we need those pieces to complete the picture. You know, the half of the pieces that we've got do the outside, but the actual picture, the actual, you know, really in-depth important part is the picture in the middle, isn't it? Not the outer edges. We've got all the outer edges, I believe. What we don't have is that detail in the middle. So was Madeline killed in the home? Now, they believe she was murdered in Kissimmee. That's why the Kissimmee police have taken over. So they must have evidence that Madeline was killed in Kissimmee. Was she murdered in the home in Kissimmee? We have to assume that at the moment. Did they see him on camera? Because they don't have to tell us that yet. Did they see him on camera carrying Madeline's dead body? And then at 8:19, he comes back. Did he leave with her body? Or did he leave with her some point in the night, murder her outside of the home, and then come back to the apartment at 8:19? But he was already at the apartment because at 7:30, he was dropping things in the dumpster. I can't work this out in my head. I can't do it. All right.
Was spotted walking by the church, by the middle school, on the cameras. They saw her hang out in the parking lot for a little bit and then get up and leave.
So we know that whatever person that was, it wasn't Madeline. The cops initially said they thought they saw her on the camera at the church, but obviously it wasn't Madeline. Now, you would think that it would have shown Jenn that image. They would want someone who knows her the best to confirm whether it was her or not. But yet she said that she hadn't seen that picture.
They didn't see a vehicle or anything else. They just saw her walk away around 9 a.m., heading towards the school, but she never made it.
What is the school say?
And it's only a few minutes walk away. It's literally down the road under the bridge, and then the school's right there. If she was abducted, how did no one see her being abducted on a walk from the church to the school? I know it's a moot point because we know that did not happen, but she's not thought through this possibility of Madeline being taken. Again, she reminds me of Don Wells. She was abducted straight away. Remember, this interview was the day after Madeline went missing. Yet she was abducted straight away. Now, it might be she genuinely believes that because nothing else makes sense. She knows that Madeline wouldn't go off on her own. She knows that she's not with any friends. Therefore, you have to assume she was abducted. Maybe any one of us in the same situation would go there that quick if she's been able to exclude all other possibilities. So is this the story that Stefan Sterns told her? This is what happened. And then the police kind of semi-confirm it by saying, we think she's on camera at the church. until they get other evidence that completely contradicts it. And then they know that it's not Madeline at the church.
Have you been in contact with the school?
Yes. That they're doing everything they can. They've given me all their resources. The principal's called me. They've looked at their cameras. I don't think they've caught anything on the cameras is too far away from the sidewalk. Everything is too grainy, so they can't see specific faces. But they've looked. I'm just waiting to hear anything else from them.
Is this normal behavior?
Not at all.
To just not show up or call or text or anything?
Not at all, no. From time to time, she will leave her cell phone at home accidentally, and that's actually what happened yesterday. She left her phone at home.
Okay, now, a lot of people have said there's no way a teenager would leave her phone at home. Now, we don't know. Maybe she was very absent-minded, and she would sometimes leave her phone at home. I'm not giving a red flag to that, because we don't know how often Madeline left her phone at home. It's an interesting coincidence. Again, though, it must be what Stephan Sterns told her, because according to this friend, she did not see Madeline at all on Monday morning. Okay, here's another problem. She overslept, so she wakes up much later than she needed to. She says, "Will you take Madeline to school?" And Stefan comes to pick her up. But where was Stefan? Okay, we've been there. So if she's awake and Madeline's in the house, why did she not see Madeline on the Monday morning? Or did she not come out of her bedroom just to say goodbye to her daughter? Even if you're running extra specially late and you know you're not going to be able to get ready for work and then take your kid to school and then be at work on time, so you ask someone else to do it while you get ready. I get that. But why did she not pop her head round the door and say goodbye as Madeline was leaving? Or had she already left and then Madeline was in the apartment on her own? You have to assume that she'd already left. But then if she'd already left, surely she would have seen Madeline getting ready for school. So that's a massive red flag. Because did they not even cross paths? I mean, is the apartment so huge? Madeline lives in one wing, the east wing, and Jenn lives in the west wing, and they've never seen each other. Come on now. It's not a big apartment. I mean, even if you didn't see her, did you not hear her? You know, even if you're in the bathroom getting showered like mega quick, did you not say, "Are you ready? Stefan's coming to pick..." I don't get it. That does not work for me. Or was Jenn not there that night? Was Madeline not there that night? Does Stefan have another location and Madeline stay with him? No, it can't be that, because according to her, Stefan picked her up. She's saying that Madeline was at home. So if Madeline was at home and Stefan was not there, where was Jenn? If she overslept, it meant she was at home sleeping. Or was she elsewhere sleeping and she'd overslept? This is so confusing to me. You know me, if you watch my videos, you know that I'm a stickler for a timeline. If a timeline doesn't work, I've got a big problem. This is worrying.
She went to school. But that happens from time to time. She's got ADHD. Her memory, she's very forgetful.
That might be true.
So, yeah, there's no way to track her right now because the detectives don't have her phone.
But didn't she say that there was text messages that Madeline had said she wanted to live in the woods? If Madeline wanted to go and live in the woods, that's convenient. I said this the other day in a video when Madeline was still missing, before the press conference where the cops said they believe she's dead. And was it true that Madeline had made those statements? Or was that Stefan making those statements on behalf of Madeline, like writing as if he was Madeline? So it looked like there was a cover story. If so, when were those text messages made? Were they made on that night when Madeline was already dead? Or had he been setting this scenario up? Was it planned, premeditated murder? Don't know.
What was the last thing, I guess, the conversation that you two had, you and your daughter?
We spoke about her birthday party. She had a birthday party on Sunday. She had a great time. I couldn't make it because I was working.
That is odd. I said this in my live stream the other day when this was brand new. This is odd. You don't go to your kid's birthday party because you're working. Was the work an emergency that she'd arranged this birthday party, or they'd collectively as a family arranged this birthday party, and then Jenn gets a call saying that she's got to work? She's a vacation planner for Disney. Maybe someone was off sick and she had to go into work, so she missed the party. Maybe it's as simple as that. I think it has to be something like that. Unless Madeline and Jenn weren't speaking. Could it be that Jenn and Madeline had a blazing row and Jenn had not gone to the birthday party and that's why she didn't see Madeline? Not according to Jenn.
But she had an amazing time. She was so happy with all her gifts. I told her good night, and yeah, that was it.
Told her good night. So Madeline came home from the birthday party. Jenn and her were both in the same residence. Where was Stefan? We don't know. Or did they say good night virtually? We have to assume that Madeline was at home until we're told otherwise by the cops.
I wasn't the one who took her to school in the morning. That was my partner.
So she wasn't the one who took her to school, that was the partner. So she was using we collectively.
13?
She's 13 years old, yes.
13, Madeline. What are you thinking right now?
In my heart, I feel like somebody took her. This isn't like her to just pick up and run away, or just not go to school. I don't know what to think.
So she says, I don't know what to think. But she must have been taken. Again, if she's truly believing Stefan's story, that Madeline was dropped off at the church, and it's literally a few minutes down a busy highway, how could somebody abduct you without no one else seeing on a busy highway? No. The chances of that happening, possible, but how probable would that be? An abductor just stops at a busy highway and abducts a child? No. You have to be completely insane. And then she says, I don't know what to think. Surely she's thinking, could Stefan have done something to her? So is she blindly believing Stefan? Is she really that gullible that she truly believes Stefan's story? Or was that a little slip of, I don't know what to think, because she's not sure that Stefan's story is the truth? But then the cops thinking that it could be Madeline on that camera would confirm to Jenn at this point that Stefan was telling the truth. So I don't know what to think. It's probably a true statement, because if you've got some corroborating evidence of Stefan's story, now we know it's not Madeline, but at that time it could have been. I think if I was in that position, I would be favouring the runaway story, even if I didn't think that was characteristic, because the possibility of abduction from that location is so very slim. But then again, she's not me. I'm not her.
And the friends' parents you've contacted and went through every single person?
Everyone that we know that she knows, we've contacted them all, reached out to them. The parents have gone out to search and look for her as well. And we haven't come up with anything yet.
I've seen a lot of posts on Facebook, Hunters Creek, rants and raves and what have you. Did people say that they were going to conduct some type of like search party or anything?
A lot of people have asked me to volunteer, like if there is one, if they can do one. I have people passing out flyers, going to every store in that vicinity, a gas station, church. I think people were being stopped in the street this morning in front of the school to see if they've seen anything, if they've heard anything. My family they're going all out right now. Yeah.
I know as a mother, a lot is going on in your brain.
So much.
To bring her back home. What have the law enforcement told you that you are able to share?
So she's shaking again now.
I mean, that they're doing the best they can. They've had detectives come out, interview us. They took a piece of her clothing for the canine dog to see if they can sniff her out. I'm not sure when that's being done.
So this is the day after she went missing. So she's not sure when the sniffer dogs are going to be deployed. The sniffer dogs should be deployed soon as, because scent on artificial surfaces like tarmac or concrete dissipates very quickly. Even bringing out the bloodhounds, the scent dissipates very quickly. If the search dogs had not been out at that point, I've got a problem with that. We know that the search dogs couldn't possibly pick up a scent because she wasn't there. It was a lie. But still, if it had been true, that's an issue for the police.
Do you have any inkling where she possibly could be? Like if you would say, okay, last time I went to work and came back, she was at James' house or Sabrina's house. Maybe I forgot to check that house, or she played at this park one weekend. Maybe she went back there or something like that.
We've looked everywhere we could have thought, and anywhere she would have been. She would have known to wait for me at the school. But we did check where if she could have walked. My mom's office is close to the school. We checked there. We checked the walking paths that she could have taken. We've checked all of her friends.
So when she says we checked, did she personally check, or is she using the royal we again? Open question.
House. I think we've checked everywhere I could think of, honestly.
What do you think, oh gosh, I just had it tip my tongue. What was she wearing?
She was last seen wearing a green hoodie, black shorts, white Crocs, a black JanSport backpack with gray hibiscus flowers on it.
So again, if she didn't see Madeline, that what she was wearing question has to be Stefan Sterns' answer. That must be what he told her. There's no other way she would know that, is there?
And you said this is not like her.
Not at all.
To run away, an argument, anything like that to provoke her?
She's never done anything like this, no. And we haven't had any arguments recently to...
Okay, so she's not had any arguments. So it's not like Jenn didn't go to the party because she had an argument. That can't be true. She didn't see Madeline on the Monday morning because they weren't speaking. That can't be true. Okay.
Have this outcome.
What school?
Hunters Creek Middle School.
Tom, any questions?
No.
Is there anything that you think our viewers would need to know about the way you're feeling, the way the family's feeling, Madeline?
We are desperate for any answers, anything that you could do to help. I'm here for it. Just please, if you see my daughter, just please bring her home. I just hope you're okay, Maddie. I hope you're safe. I hope you're not hurt. I just hope she's okay.
When did you notice that she was missing? Because this was at the beginning of the morning.
She got dropped off in the morning. We did not notice until after school pickup at 4 o'clock when I went to go pick her up and she wasn't at school.
So we're going in 24 hours now.
Yeah.
Just about.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Nothing. No word. No text message. No messages anywhere from her. I've looked at all her social medias. I've looked at all her games she could have played with. Any app. No weird conversations. Nothing strange. Everything was conversations with just normal friends or us.
She knows how to get home by herself, as if, like, let's just say, to take a bus or an Uber or something like that. She would know how to get home alone, correct?
I'm not sure. I don't know if she would know how to get home. Maybe, I mean, if someone, I'm thinking if someone got in the car with her and if she pointed the way, what roads, she probably could figure out how to get, but like, does she know her full address? I don't think she does.
Wait, that is bizarre. She's 13, not 3. How would she not know her address at 13? Isn't it one of the first things you teach your kids, to know their address? Before I started school, I remember, I knew my address. How can a 13-year-old not know her address? Unless she had severe learning difficulties, which we don't believe she had because she was at a normal, everyday, regular school. If she had learning difficulties, yes, I could understand that she wouldn't know her address. That's ridiculous. I don't believe that at all.
I mean, it just puts in my brain that she always comes home with someone.
She always comes home
So
with
there's
me.
no need for her to really learn. Okay.
Oh, did she live a really sheltered life? She wasn't allowed anywhere? She wasn't allowed to go anywhere? If that's the case, why? She's 13. That's just so odd to me.
He said no time. He knows everything.
All right, then it's his turn. So, red flags galore. My main issue, though, is that timeline. Where are those missing puzzle pieces? They're still in the box. But let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.